Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I wanted to revisit carbon dioxide or CO2 injection. The tank you're looking at is actually at my 120, which is now primarily a discus tank. This was somewhere in 2021, probably around December. When I started this tank during the pandemic, I started injecting CO2 on 1/31/2021 and October 31st, and this is a few months into it. You can see the nice growth. The plants are very rich. I had to keep trimming back. I only had these three young baby discus at the time there, and I did have to constantly trim the plants with the carbon dioxide due to some work being done in my apartment on the floor. I stopped injecting CO2 and it's now been about 8 months or so. So I also want to start updating my anubias. Generally they do quite well, and a lot of people say you don't need CO2 injections with some plants. Well, I have found that maybe you don't need them, but it does help a hell of a lot, and I like the way this tank looked then. A lot of the stones and some of the woodwork that I had there I have already removed, and I had to create more space for the discus to swim in. But I wanted to do a little review of the tanks and my anubias primarily. Some of these anubias, especially in this 65-gallon, mostly barb tanks. I have a few others, a community tank, but the majority of them are different barbs. Some Rominos, as you see in the background. Overall, this tank with the anubia has done well. This 60-gallon cube community tank has been a trial and error with plants. I have a bunch of Buenos-Aires tetras in there that has been a trial and error with the plants. Note this plant at the back here, behind this rock. I'll give it a second. Right there, it's being circled. That plant, compared to this one that's also being circled with the barbs tank, where I put them in the same day, you notice that this one still has leaves, the other one they're totally gone. The Buenos Aires tetras, it's a very beautiful, colorful, very active fish. Just be careful with the plants. It's been a trial and error with this tank. They don't seem to bother the crips. Some anubias, they don't bother. If they're higher up, they will definitely eat them. This plant at the back that I've already mentioned, I placed that one back there on the bottom. I placed it on the same day as the one previously shown. It did not take 2 days before pretty much all the leaves are gone. There's still bottom leaf remaining because they don't seem to bother lower stuff on the tank. This is a 120-gallon. Some of the anubias have just been doing, they don't seem to be doing as well as before, so I occasionally take them out, trim them, and just take the leaves that are not looking so good. So I'm just planning to update some. That plant at the back is fairly new. That tall one, I forgot what other variety of anubia it is. It was a mother plant and it is remaining very nice. One thing for sure that I've noticed is that since I stopped using CO2, I stopped injecting CO2 into those 3 display tanks because I had done some work on the floor, and I just been more of a matter of time. This few pictures that are showing there was that 120-gallon during CO2 injection a while back. One thing for sure that I've heard that CO2 is not required for some of these plants, but I can tell you they do amazing when CO2 is injected. So I have to reorganize everything again and restart injecting CO2. The Amazon swords. The Amazon swords that I currently have, they are not growing as luscious as they used to be. And you can see some of the anubias here. These are some shots of CO2 with the tank, with the 120, with CO2 at some point. You can see all the plants in the background of the fish. They do look amazing. Some of this, I actually started CO2 on this date here, which was 1/31/21. And this is as the tank looked before the CO2. There was plenty of rocks. I've redone everything since to allow space for the discus. This was sometime after, not long after the CO2. You notice the plants in the background, and everything is very full and very, very rich. This was just this was done about 4 months after April, May but the tank have remained the same. I just have to do constant trimming of the plants to keep them healthy and looking nice. So I found that also with the, I think it's a 5-pound tank, lasts me anywhere from 4 to 5 months, supplying 3 tanks, the 120, the 65-gallon, and the 60-gallon cube. But as you can see, this is CO2 injection versus no CO2 injection for the past 8 months or so. As the tank currently lies, the Amazon swords don't look as good as they did, or certainly not as tall. They're remaining very low, and although I had to cut back a lot of the plants and remove most of the stones work that I had there, just to allow more spaces. These anubias from this recent shipment that I got, they came during this cold spell. They look a little limp coming in, so I just will place them in a holding tank for a while and see if they do improve, because I do not want to waste the time setting them on stone and then they don't do well. They are in a tank now. I'm just going to watch them for a little while and hopefully they do well. This is another shipment of anubias that I received. All of these are of the Bartieri ones. I'm just preparing these as you've seen many videos. If you have your noodles yourself, you know how to prepare them. Just remove all the rock wool. I'm just using a fork, and these are usually very perky compared to the other ones, and they're from a different source, and they both are Bartieri. I'm just going to set them on a few rocks here and put them on a piece of driftwood. I want to put them on the holding tanks and the 310s and the 20s. I'm just so accustomed to seeing plants in tanks that it just looks a little better with a little greenery, at least to my eyes. And also it's providing for some betas that I had on the 60-gallon. There was a lot of flow in the tank, so they were certainly not comfortable. They were constantly hiding behind the spray bar, and you did not see them much, but this will certainly provide some space for hiding. This piece of driftwood also provides some just chewing, scraping material for the pleco that are in this tank. Again, I use the gel crazy glue for the plant. They're full attached here at this point. And this is just a little view of the tank now. This is the grow out tank that I have. Some baby discus in here. They're about almost 4 months old now. I also moved the betas to this tank. This is another view of the 20-gallon, and there's a 20 and a 10-gallon that I separated the baby discus in there. And then there's also this other quarantine tank, 20-gallon next to it. The greenery it's nice itself, it just looks a little bit better. This beta up here, I picked it up at a PetSmart that I was just fell in love with it for my daughter, for my 8-year-old. She called him Golden Rusty. This is a 5.5-gallon project tank for her, but currently I'm using it for treatment for this discus. He's a little thin, he's fairly dry, he eats well, but he's just not gaining weight and losing weight. So I am treating this tank with a couple of other rams that I have in there, but that will be her special project tank. So this rack, and I have here some other barbs that I recently ordered and have received, so they're just being observed. Some other ones in quarantine, 2 blue acaras, some clown loaches at the bottom. And then this is another quarantine tank that I'm just waiting to move these fish to an upcoming tank. So now this is one of the betas that I moved from the 60. So he quickly found a resting spot there on the stone. And this golden, sometime he'll rest on the leaves here. So I will continue renewing the anubias plant and restarting CO2 injections. Thank you for watching. If you have not done so, please subscribe, like, share, and push the notification bell. Thanks for watching.